My, my father was a career Air Force pilot, and he spent part of his career training other pilots. One Sunday afternoon when we were stationed in Hawaii, a man appeared at our door asking to speak to my father. As my mother went to find him, I had the opportunity to observe the man. He had red marks on his face, like he was recovering from a serious sunburn. His hair was short, as if he were growing it out after a bad haircut. His hands had those red marks too, except they were more pronounced. When my father came to the door, he recognized the man and immediately ushered him in to the dining room table. Today is the 26th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings today speak plainly about our journey in life and how our relationship with Jesus depends on our choices in this journey. In the first reading, we hear from Amos. Amos was a shepherd. He wrote his poetry and his prophecies during the prosperous times of King Jeroboam II. Yet, Amos didn't prophesy about the wealth and the prosperity of the northern kingdom. Amos focused on the rise of materialism and selfishness that accompanied the prosperity, as well as the tolerance of the worship of pagan gods. After the man was seated at the dining room table, my mother ushered my brother and I out of the room. Children were seen and not heard in those days, but from my room I could still hear them speaking. My father was telling him he was pleased to see how he was doing. The man said that the doctors thought that most of the burn scars would heal and fade. And he said that he thought he would be able to return to flying. My father remarked that it must have been a harrowing experience landing a burning aircraft without any loss of life. Then the man said to my father, "That's why I'm here." In the second reading today, Paul writes to Timothy, a leader of one of the Gentile churches. Paul's letter is one of instruction, reminding Timothy of his responsibility to avoid false teaching, a big challenge in the early church. The letter also discusses aid to the needy, church liturgy, and the selection of leaders. Paul presents Timothy a lesson in mindfulness and stewardship intended to benefit the entire community. The man at the table continued to speak. "Major, I'm here today because of what you taught me. When the fire broke out and we began to lose power and altitude, I began to hear your voice. Keep your wings level. Deploy your flaps. Keep your nose up. Watch your airspeed. I heard you all the way down. Even when fire got into the cockpit, I could hear your voice. Then, somehow, we were on the ground, and the fire crews got everyone out." In the gospel today, Jesus tells the familiar parable about Lazarus and the rich man. Lazarus suffers in his life and is rewarded in heaven. The rich man enjoys a worldly life of excess and is condemned to the netherworld. One of the ironies in the parable occurs in the conversation between the rich man and Abraham. The rich man repeatedly asks Abraham to instruct Lazarus to do some form of a task to ease his suffering. The irony is that even in hell, the rich man is unable to see his own sin. We live in a prosperous society today. We enjoy the benefits and the privileges of that society. Yet, we see excesses and selfishness. We see a portion of the population that is in need. We experience leaders who are unresponsive to the needs of the common good. We see widespread hate towards others. Amos saw those conditions in his day. Although the northern kingdom was prosperous, there remained the mistreatment of the poor, the excesses of the wealthy and the privileged, and a willingness to ignore, even deny, the God who created it all and gifted it all. So what are we to do in our time? Paul's letter to Timothy offers Timothy a guide to managing the churches in Ephesus. It reminds us that we are called as Catholics to be guided in our life and relationships by Catholic social teaching, recognizing the sacredness of each life, the dignity of each individual, preserving and protecting the family, understanding and accepting our rights and responsibilities, advocating for the marginalized, addressing the root causes of systematic social and political failures, upholding the dignity of work and the worker, a commitment to the common good, and care for God's creation. These are the guideposts by which the church calls us to live. The young pilot who came to see my father was alive because he remembered and followed the rules of flight. Even with fire burning around him, in the worst moment of his life, he held to the rules that he was taught. Keep your wings level. Deploy your flaps. Keep your nose up. Watch your airspeed. Those lessons led him back to Earth, where his life and the lives of his crew were saved. And so it is with us. The church provides us clear teaching on our relationships with others and with God. The irony of the rich man's inability to see his own sin and the treatment of Lazarus calls us to examine our own lives, lest we find out too late that we suffer the same blindness. We have the ability to discover and to correct our blind spots. We have the ability to learn the lessons that will support us through life and in times of trial. The readings today point us in the right direction. Our catechism provides us the details. If we live by what they teach us, we arrive where God intends us to be, standing alongside Abraham and Lazarus in the presence of Jesus.